So one of the things I want to show you guys here today is this is the downpipe blanket for the Wits End Turbo. This is something that's specific to this exact vehicle, which is the 80 Series 1FZ. On the downpipe itself, I actually don't do anything with it. There's been a lot of talk about doing ceramic coating or doing the heat blanket. I decided to go with just keeping it raw and instead offering up a turbo blanket to go with it. The problem with the ceramic coating is nobody can ever agree what color. And if I pick the color I want, there's always going to be somebody that's going to say, I want a different color, I want to do whatever. You know what, go to town, have it ceramic coated. We're only going to talk about the turbo blanket for right now. So this is what the blanket looks like when it's done and it's installed, ready to go onto the truck itself. And so here we have the bottom part of the V-band. This is where it goes to the exhaust. We have the rest of the pipe itself that's covered all the way up into the flange that goes into the turbo itself. What is currently not covered is this is the pipe that actually goes to the wastegate. The only reason it's not covered is because there is a wastegate blanket that's being developed now, but that wastegate blanket will likely have a cover for this portion of the pipe as it is. One of the things you also notice right here is this is an M18 plug used for an ultra-wide sensor, oxygen sensor that's typically used for an AFR, which is your air-fuel ratio gauge. For now, this is going to be plugged, and so believe it or not, I'm actually just using a regular diff plug that's going to go inside here and just kind of close it off. And once I get everything else situated, I'll go ahead and put it in the AFR sensor in here, and it'll be good to go. So the problem is, you folks will already have your downpipes kit. Either the downpipe's already in the truck running, or you haven't gotten your turbo yet, and the downpipe's just going to be part of it. So you're not going to get it like this. You're actually going to get it not installed. So what we're going to do right now is I'm actually going to show you how to, not that you're going to need to do it, but I'm actually going to go ahead and remove the wire from this, and then I'm going to go backwards and actually show you how to install this thing before you put it back onto the vehicle. Now, one note: although we are using safety wire on this, this is not your typical safety wire application. The reason being, for all those people that know of safety wire, regardless if you're using it for jet engines, for aircraft, for race developments, it all goes into either a castle nut or a drilled bolt, or the drilled head of a bolt, or double drilled bolt, typically seen in aircraft, aerospace, and race applications. This is not that application. The only purpose that the safety wire does in this particular application is just act as an application to wrap everything so it holds everything nice and tight. It's actually a lot easier than using snaps trying to get it. You can adjust it however you need to do it, and basically we're just using these little, for the sake of explanation, we're just going to call these little T standoffs. So all we're going to be doing is wrapping around these. There's no torque load on anything that's happening here. There's no structural integrity we have to worry about. So the actual typical safety wire application and process does not belong in this discussion. So before people start getting nuts, because they're going to start off and say, oh, that's not the proper way to do safety wire. I don't care. This is about just adding it to the blanket itself, and it serves one purpose and one purpose only. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to start by actually removing this. Now, removing it, what I could do is I could just find an end and then just work backwards on it. But what I'm going to actually do is I'm just going to run the set of cutters underneath here, and then I'm just going to snip it. And so I'm going to take this and start unwrapping it at this end. Now you're going to need to use a pair of pliers at the minimum, because you're going to want to try and get this thing tight. And trying to do it with just your hands is possible, but it just makes life easier if you just use a pair of pliers. If you have a set of, they call them wave pliers in the safety wire world, or flat build wires, pliers, go ahead and rock those. For right now, I'm just using a pair of needle nose because this is what everybody's going to have at home, and for 98% of you at home that are going to be installing this is what you have. So this is what I'm going to be using. So right now, all I'm doing is taking off all the safety wire that's already on. Sorry about the gardening maintenance going off in the background. Now some of you may come up to an instance where you'll have to remove this for any reason, and so just knowing what to do ahead of time just kind of helps anyway. So we got to the end of this one. We're going to put this just off to the side. Now we're going to start on the next one. Now the only reason it was done in two pieces is because the stainless wire that I happen to have actually wasn't long enough, so I actually had to use two pieces. The wire that you're going to be getting when you get this as part of your order, you're actually going to get the correctly sized wire, so you should only have to do this once. See, as I'm looking at this, it probably would have been a lot smarter for me to start it the other side, so that way I'm not wrapping into itself, but I didn't, so I'm not. Alright, that's that piece. We're going to go with this. We're going to just untwist it. And then last little piece. Alright, so here we are with our mess of stainless steel wire that we wound up taking off. Here's the blanket itself. I'm going to go ahead and just remove this. Now, this is what my downpipe looks like. This is not what your downpipe is going to look like. The only reason mine looks like this is because in a pinch I had to use the stupid wrap that goes around it in a trip to Vegas, and so in doing that it just imparted itself onto my downpipe, so made it look like crap. This is a downpipe that you're going to be getting and what it looks like. So right now I have the blanket off. I have the pipe ready to go on. One of the things that I probably should have said from the beginning, but you'll notice I'm wearing gloves. The only reason I'm wearing gloves is because the stitching and the mesh work that's done on this actually has tiny little protruding pieces of steel that come out, and it's a pain in the neck on the hands. So in order to be a little gentle on the hands, just wearing a pair of just regular latex gloves is probably all you need. So here we are. We're going to go ahead and start installing this thing. Now, some of you may not have somebody to help you do this next part of it, but it definitely helps to have an extra pair of hands to kind of hold things in place while you're tugging on the wire itself. And so I've got my little helper over here. It's going to put some hands in. So the extra pair of hands that you're going to see is going to be him. So the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to open this thing up. Well, actually, first thing we're going to do is we're going to notice kind of where everything is, so, and how it relates. So if you follow the shape of the pipe and then the shape of the downpipe blanket itself, it'll help to start where everything goes. So we're just going to take this and just open it up, and we're going to go ahead and just start placing it in. You're not going to hurt the blanket, so don't fret about that. But all we're going to do is we're going to get everything just kind of loose and in place, so kind of like we know where everything's going to be. So we're going to tug on everything, go closer. And we're pretty close right there. So if you look, this will be pushed in and then wrapped. This will be pushed in and then wrapped. This area here will be pushed in and then wrapped. And then of course over here will be pushed in and wrapped. It doesn't make a difference which side you start in. I kind of like starting from this side here, only because this is easier to work around, only because once you have the clamp in place, you're kind of working around the clamp, and that makes it a little bit tougher to do. So what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to start on this side, and you can see kind of where everything flaps up. You're going to have folds in there, and all you're going to do is just get this nice and tight and snug. So this section right here looks pretty good. So I can see where everything's kind of matching. As I come over here, I can see where everything's moving. Everything seems to be looking pretty good. So once I have that, I'm going to start with the run of the stainless steel wire that we're going to have. And I'm going to pick one of these two little protrusions here at the end, and I'm going to wrap around there and start. Okay folks, we have the downpipe blanket that's ready to go. We have our stainless steel wire. The first thing that we're going to do is we're actually going to wrap it around one of these little protrusions here. Now there's no through holes, so we have nothing that we can actually wrap around to the hole to lock it in like a traditional safety wire. So actually what we're going to do is we're just going to create a little loop, and then we're going to twist the short end of it around the long end, and then that's going to be enough to just keep it so it'll prevent itself from pulling off. So all we're going to do here is we're just going to make a small loop like this, even be smaller than that, and then we're going to take this end here, tighten it in, but then we're going to start wrapping it. And you'll take both of these guys and you'll start twisting them. Now if we add a safety wire pliers, we can sit there and get this a little bit tighter. But instead I'm just going to grab this regular set of pliers here, and I'm just going to take this and I'm just going to twist, 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 twist. And so that's what we have here. And then we have this little tail that's sitting here at the edge. Instead of having this poking us, I'm going to take this guy and I'm just going to curl this back on itself, and then I'm just going to make sure that it's flat against here so that it doesn't catch on anything. So I know if I rub my latex glove around this, if it was going to be a problem anywhere it was going to snag, it would rip the glove. So right now we're looking pretty good. So a loop around here, twist it a couple times, and finish off with a little curl at the edge here so that we make sure that this doesn't catch. Now that this one's done, we're going to have an extra set of hands here, or hand. That's basically just going to be tugging it on everything to make it tighter as we're going down the downpipe. What I'm going to be doing on this side is I'm going to start wrapping to get everything nice and tight. So what we're going to do is I'm going to, instead of going this way and routing it off there. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to go onto the inside of this and wrap it back this way. And what this does is this continually pushes tension in the direction that I'm pulling in. So here I'm going on this. Well, I'm not going to go on this side, go down. I'm going to go on the outside of it, come inside. Same thing as I come here. Instead of going on the inside, we're going to go on, or on the outside, we're going to go on the inside, bringing it in. And then we're just going to keep moving it forward. Okay, we're going to get this as tight as we can. Outside, inside. Keep tugging as you're doing it. Come back here. We're going to go outside and then inside. Turn this over here. Over on this side, we're going to go outside and then inside. Now this one's going to be a little more fun because we have this guy down here. So we're going to go down, keep it tight, outside, inside. Now we're back over here, outside, inside. Now what you'll notice here, I don't have very much of the stainless steel wire to keep going. So we're actually going to end it right here. So what I'm going to do on this is I'm actually just going to go ahead and just wrap it. Just wrap it a couple times. And then what I'll do is I'll actually run this underneath. So I'll run it underneath the other cable or wire here, and I'll bring it all the way back. And I'll take it, I'll go underneath again, take my pliers, and I'll do that twist. Now, we don't have to do too many, we don't have to go too nuts, so I'm going to go ahead and cut off the excess. I'm going to take this little section here that's a little too far, I'm going to curl it, and I'm going to make sure it's flat up against the wire. And then I'm going to test with my glove to make sure that nothing is poking out, and we're looking pretty good. So this is pretty good. Could this be tighter? Absolutely. But for what we needed to do, this is perfectly fine. Alright, so on this, we actually ran out of wire. Again, yours will not. You'll have one longer length to be working with, but for this one on the prototype, I had to have two shorter lengths. So we're gonna do this, what we're gonna do is where we ended on the first run, we're gonna go ahead and restart the same way that we started at the one at the very beginning. I'm gonna put a small loop in, and we're just gonna we'll go pre-twist it. So it's just going to catch around here, around the protrusion there. I'm just going to take the pliers and I'm going to just start twisting the wire. Go back in, I'm going to twist this just a little bit tighter. Almost got it. Alright, I think I'm in a happy spot now. Alright, so now that that one's good, he's gonna be tugging on the blanket so that this thing gets tight. We're gonna go onto the outside here, run it in, come on this side, Same thing, we're going to run it on the outside, run it in, keep everything tight. We're going to run it on the outside, bring it back in, and we're almost done here. Around this guy, coming up on here, and at this point, we can double wrap if we really want to, but we don't really need to. Instead, I'm going to wrap this guy a couple times, and I'm going to cut off the excess. So I ended up over here. I got a couple loops that I wrapped around here. I can't just leave it like this because just enough tension is enough for it to just draw itself back. So what I need to do is I need to take this guy here. I'm actually going to trim a little bit more of him away. And I'm going to take this wire, and what I need to do is I need to start twisting him a little bit. So I'm actually going to take this guy, I'm going to run him a little bit under. I'm going to take the pliers, I'm going to grab the end here, and I'm going to get it nice and tight. Again, there's pliers that are specifically used for this, but most of you I know are not going to be spending the money to do that, so there's no point in showing you with a nice set of $150 safety pliers. So I'm actually trying to just show you this with the tools I know some of you or most of you should have at home. So all I'm doing is twisting this a few times. Now again, because there's no structural integrity that we need to try and protect, we only need a couple twists in here just to keep it taut across here so it doesn't pull itself out. And all I'm going to do is just once again take this edge, and I'm going to actually shorten this just a little bit more, capture that wire, take the little pigtail that we got here and twist it back on itself. And same thing, I want to rub my glove around it just to make sure that nothing's poking out so it won't catch. So right now it looks like we're done. And as we look at the finished product here, you have a blanket that is ready to go and good to install.